Four Nights of the Apocalypse chapter 96 is currently out, and this was a really nice chapter. It made me laugh, I was hyped, and I was kind of sad at the end. But overall, it was a really good chapter, and I cannot wait to get into it. Before I do, let me just let you guys know that towards the end of the chapter, you might notice some less inked characters and panels with some details like not as clear as it was previously, and that's because Nakaba has had throat and neck issues over the last few weeks, so the chapter is technically a bit unfinished. So I just figured that's something I should mention, as it's probably going to be a bit of a shock to see that much of a difference so quickly. But let's just get right into the video and hit that intro. Chapter 96 of Four Nights of the Apocalypse is titled Battle City, and when I heard that, I immediately thought of the Battle City arc of Yu-Gi-Oh! But anyway, so this chapter starts off directly from last week, where Isolde and Jade are confronted with one of the two Chaos Assassins that basically Arthur sent after them. She begins taunting them and then notices that Jade is looking at her, and then she honestly thinks that he is staring at her body in a very indecent way. Isolde immediately thinking the worst at the second, because she can be kind of gullible at times, but Jade just awkwardly and just kind of infuriatedly just says, "I was just looking at your weapon, stop being such a self-conscious old hag." He then points out that she's using a longbow and that it's a ranged weapon. As long as they close the distance, then the arrows won't do any effect. But then she basically says, "You thought that was an arrow I shot?" As we know from the last chapter, that what hit the wall was not an arrow, but a snake. It then immediately bites Isolde's thigh, as An manages to throw it away, and it slithers right back to Serendich. I can't pronounce her name very well. Anyway, she seems to be a summoner similar to Chion. An goes over to try and attack her, but then a bunch of owls end up attacking her, also blocking her from attacking the enemy. Isolde then looks down, and there's a bunch of spiders and insects on the ground. And then butterflies and other insects and animals show up around everyone, as she then explains that her magical power lets her take control of all the small creatures within her range, called summon creature, as we see a big image of like owls, centipedes, butterflies, wasps from what I can tell, tarantulas, all around surrounding them. And yeah, that illustration is kind of creepy and uncomfortable, because who would want to be in that situation? Isolde then falls down, stating that she's getting dizzy, revealing that the snake was poisonous, and so they have to get to Nazianz or Percival immediately. So Jade, being the absolute Chad that he truly is, picks up Isolde on his back so they can run and meet up with the rest of the group. But as they start to run away, the assassin states that there's no way they're going to get away from her, as these things share her senses: her sight, smell, touch, everything. So no matter where they hide, she'll find them. But then Jade smugly manages to outwit her, saying that, "So you're saying if you can't see anything, they'll lose their sense of sight as well, right?" He then uses the magical power Darkness to encase her head in a dark ball, similar to what he did to Percival in the start of the illness arc, getting rid of her sight, as all she can see is just pure absolute darkness. And in doing so, all the insects that she has control over begin to lose it, as they can't see as well, since they share their senses with her. As they run away, Isolde then bashes the ground with her mace, encasing them with magical power. Even though the assassin doesn't know where they're going, she has a general idea of where they're running towards. And since she doesn't see the obvious trap in front of her, she trips over the magical energy and activates Isolde's lover's mind, exploding. Which honestly is a really good strategic way to deal with an opponent, as she literally just hits random areas on the ground, and if someone touches them, they'll explode, or she can remotely explode them. We then cut over to Percival's group as they begin to fight Macduff. Donnie tries to use telekinesis, but then Macduff immediately goes next to him, grabs his arm, and bends it backwards, breaking it. Nazianz then jumps forward, trying to stab Macduff, but he swiftly and effortlessly evades his attacks. He then grabs Nazianz by the face, poking his hand in his eye, which, oh man, that was brutal, and then smashes Nazianz's head against the wall with immense force. That is very brutal. But this next part actually makes me laugh, because immediately Gion tries to attack him. Kill him! His axe then gets blocked by one hand, and then he gets kicked swiftly in the gut as he coughs off blood.
Woo! Yeah, baby! That's what I've been waiting for. That's what it's all about. Woo!
This is the one moment in this chapter where I truly laughed out loud. But then, as Cheon hits the ground, Macduff then witnesses Percival's magical power as he envelops everyone in his hope magic, restoring them all to full health, and even giving them a power boost. Macduff realizes this, and then he immediately dashes across the walls, appears behind Percival, gets him in a chokehold, and then as Percival tries to struggle, he then snaps Percival's neck, with Percival dropping to the ground as Donnie then uses telekinesis and throws Macduff away. Now Percival has died for the second time in this series so far, and oh man, that was brutal. Nazianz was brutal, but Percival, oh man, Percival is way too precious for this world. He does not deserve to die twice. Then again, him dying to Ironside the first time was actually the most brutal thing that has happened to him. This is a close second. But man, wow. Okay, anyway, so Donnie throws away Macduff, getting him away from him as he goes over to check on Percival. And as they realize this, their sound is back. They can speak again. And his power is basically sound erasure, which is good for him, perfect for assassinations. It makes sense why none of the festival goers managed to witness anything. And even Cheon's surprised that he managed to spot their healer and take him out immediately. Donnie and Nazians are trying to get Percival to wake up, but Cheon just looks at them coldly and just says, "Give it up, his neck is broken, he's already dead," with a panel of Percival with lifeless eyes as he is not responding to any of their calls. Donnie is just infuriated at Cheon, telling him, "How can you talk about that to a comrade?" As Cheon just says, "All I did was calmly point out what I saw." Nazian then states the obvious, that it's Percival's magic that kept them all alive, but Cheon just says, "If you want to be sentimental, be my guest. But in the end, I'm just saying he was the kind of human who'd die in an alley like this. If he hadn't been propped up as a knight of a prophecy, he would have lived longer." Infuriating Nazians and Donnie, ending the chapter. So, man, okay, I have to say this. Yes, Cheon is correct to try and maintain a calm stance, but he is not fazed at all by the fact that Percival is dead. We all know the man is kind of a bit of a sociopath and a Tristan simp to a large degree. If this was Tristan, he'd be freaking out. But man, why couldn't we just get a full, maybe 2 pages of just Cheon getting his ass kicked instead of just one singular panel? That's not my issue here, but seriously, with how he acts, I just want the man to get his ass kicked more often. Anyway, that was the chapter. Percival got killed for the second time in the series, though it's very possible this is his third if he did end up dying in chapter 1, like Ironside assumed. But either way, he's not going to stay dead for long. It's probably going to be another 2-3 chapters, because remember, during the Sistana arc, when Percival died the first time, it took about 2 chapters until he got revived due to the hope of his friends around him. And I feel like they should just, if they calm down, they'll remember that Percival's power is hope, and he died previously by multiple stab wounds, his heart being basically destroyed by Ironside. So if they just manage to get to On and they can all just hope for Percival, then he will be revived. Because I don't think Donnie and Nazian's hope will be enough to revive Percival. Cheon is very cold towards everybody, despite him basically being alive thanks to Percival not showing any form of gratitude. You know what? I will make a full Cheon video within the next month or 2, because I really want to talk about this guy and why I dislike him, why everybody dislikes him. But I gotta say, I like this chapter. It was quick. Again, Nakaba had health problems, so not too much happened in this chapter, which is why we went through it very quickly. But everything seems to be going fairly poorly for our group. On's group had to flee, and right now, Percival's group has Percival dead, and the enemy was thrown away. Only for this guy is probably going to find another opening to try and take them down, now that they're all in disarray over what happened to Percival. Lancelot and Gawain are still at the inn, so I have no idea what they're going to do, if they're sitting this arc out or something's going to happen. And we still have to check back in with Tristan, because last chapter he was basically being thrown to and from the ground with a bungee ability like a yo-yo, getting punched endlessly. So I'm curious to see what happens with Tristan, because he's definitely going to get out of this situation. I'm just curious to see how, because he might be pulling back. I'm not entirely sure, because he's not the type of guy that just kill first, ask questions later. Either way, this chapter focused on the fight with the last 2 assassins, and I like their abilities. Macduff is literally just straight up assassin, taking out all sound, making it very difficult for anybody to detect them, especially since that barrier's up more or less kind of negating a lot of magical powers, or just encasing and erasing magical detection or whatever. Then you have Sarek, I can't pronounce her name, the female chaos assassin with her animal charming ability, basically summoning animals to do her dirty work. It's a very interesting circumstantial abilities, which are actually all very perfect for assassination. So I'm curious to see how they're going to get out of this, especially with Tristan preoccupied, and they don't really have anybody to heal their wounds right now. So yeah, overall this chapter was really quick, it was very short. I liked the confrontation. It sucks that Percival had to die again, but you have to bring up tension right now, and I feel like what Nakaba's going for this arc is actually building up the side characters to do their own thing. Lancelot and Gawain are kind of out of this thing right now, possibly going to show up towards the end. Tristan's off doing something else, which was initially what Lancelot was seemingly supposed to do, and right now our main group is fighting against two assassins that Lancelot was initially going to take down himself. So yeah, we'll have to see how this plays out. I feel like we're going to have to see how everyone deals with the assassins. Maybe they'll swap opponents for all we know. That's something that's going to be very interesting. But leave your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below with your thoughts on the chapter and what you think is going to happen next. What did you think of Percival dying again? Did you all basically laugh and have the biggest grin on your face when Shion basically got a near death blow in one hit in this one chapter? And how do you think this whole situation is going to be resolved? And when do you think perhaps Tristan will take out his opponent and help everyone out? Or do you think Gawain and Lancelot will end up finding a way to basically intervene in this whole fight? So that's done. I hope you guys enjoyed this relatively short review, because again, short, condensed chapter, not too much else to really discuss. But I hope you all enjoyed. So like and subscribe to the channel for more Fortnite's content. I plan to do a lot more videos and shorts as well, so look forward to all that. And with all that said and done, I hope you all have an awesome day.